Namaskaras to everyone.
Namaskara.
We will begin. Om Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashantaye Sadashvasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we were discussing the transmigration in the last class. Purushaha prakritistohi bhungte praktijan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasadyoni janmasu. So the individual transient, he is seated in nature. We can be seated in nature or in the Atma. Seated in the nature is what we are all are. Atmastaha we have to become. We have to be seated in the Atma if we want to get over this transmigration. And as a result of this being seated in the nature, we interact with nature. When we interact with nature, we also consume the products of nature. The products of nature are of the nature of three proclivities, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Depending on in what way and we interact with nature, we consume these gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. And the consumption of these gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, it creates certain impressions in our mind, and those impressions drive us to engage in certain kinds of actions. And those certain kinds of actions that we engage in produce certain fruits of karma, fruits of actions, and then we have to experience that. And depending on the nature of the fruits of karma, nature of karma we do, and the nature of fruits of karma, we experience different kinds of births. That's what we discussed in the last class. Let me move on with that's the summary of the last class. So just to revisit this again, at the beginning of during the previous life, we had a bag of karma that bag of karma travels with us all the time, and that karma, then whatever actions that we did in the last karma, that also adds up to the bag of karma before we come to the next birth. So this karma added in the past life, that is called the agami karma. We can add on from the previous life only. So this was the content of the bag in the during the previous life. Then at the end of the life, all the karmas that we did in this life gets added on to it, and then we take a part of it, a quantum of that karma we take to take the current birth. So we take away from that bag, from this totality of the karmas, we take away the quantum karma for the beginning of this life, and so this is the accumulated karma as we are talking today. Now at the end of this life, we add the agami karma of this life, whatever karma we have done, that adds up to that. And so this cycle repeats again and again and again. So previous life sanchita plus agami from previous life minus the prarabdha of current life is the sanchita of the current life. Now, is there a chance that this could be totally the sanchita karma can be this bag of karma, accumulated karma can be neutralized? It is very unlikely, because here we add certain karma of the previous life, and then we take out something out to take this current life. So in each birth, there is a potential for adding more karma than the something we take out to experience. It's like this. If you have a cut, The cut happens in instantaneously, in a second. But the cut, it takes about a week to heal. So like that, this karma keeps on growing, and there is no possibility of the karma totally exhausting and no transmigration. That situation never arises. So the only way to do that is to separate ourselves from the Prakriti. I cannot be in the Prakriti and exhaust this bag. The only way I can disconnect from this bag is I have to live in the Atma. Then there is no, because there is no interaction with the Prakriti at that time, when you live in the Atma, then there is no additional karma. This bag of karma belongs to the transient, not to the Atma. So when the transient disappears, when you live in the Atma, this bag also disappears. The text describe it as in the fire of knowledge, this bag of karma burns itself. That's the way that tradition describes it. So this is inevitable. This situation where we take births is inevitable. And with that, so the future birth, what kind of birth do I take? That future birth is determined by what kind of proclivity we seek and enjoy in the current birth. Now, there is three kinds of births that Krishna talks about. We will talk about that following this slide here. Good wombs are characterized by maximized happiness. Whatever karma we do, we have to experience some happiness and we have to experience certain pain. So the superior births are obtained. When I say superior, it could be a superior birth to the current human birth. Next human birth could also be a like possibility. And so that could be a higher happiness than and a lower misery. Bad wombs or inferior wombs are characterized by maximized pain. We experience a lot of trouble, so that is possible. That's because the karma that we have engaged in gives that kinds of fruits. So we don't know which karma fructifies in what life, and so the manifest Atma, he travels across the wombs, from superior wombs to the inferior wombs, and this is because of his fixation in the proclivities and not fixation in the Atma. So the manifest Atma displays from his real state of Atma. It's only an appearance of an Atma, not a real Atma. He experiences varieties of births and he wanders in this transmigration. If you disconnect with the Prakriti, you stay put in the Atma itself, eternal staying in the Atma. Because the Atma is eternal, and therefore you as Atma, you are eternal, and therefore there is no future births associated with that. Okay, then moving on, that is the verse that Krishna describes. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha trividham karmana palam bhavatyattyaginam pretya natu sannyasinam kvachit. Unpleasant, pleasant, and mixed are the three kinds of fruits of actions. They accompany the unrenounced, departed, but never they renounce transient. The transient who does karma, but he has renounced the fruits of karma. That's what the understanding here would be. That depending on what kind of, if we are engaged in desire-motivated karma, we do get one of the three kinds of karma through a life: unpleasant, pleasant, and mixed. Or if we don't engage in desire-motivated karma, then that karma does not add to the sanchita karma. The agami karma from a desire-free karma life, agami karma from a desire-free life is zero. It doesn't add, but agami karma adds to the transient who is engaged in desire-motivated karma, and that is the one that constantly increases the size of the karma bag. So he is suffering death before attaining to liberation. Now, whether you're engaged in desire motivated karma or desire free karma, you may still have a next life because the previous karma is still intact with you. The accumulated karma is still intact with you, even if you follow the desire free karma. But if you follow the desire free karma life after life after life, then what happens is there is no agami karma coming, the future karma coming into the back at every life. And then the other aspect of it is the in the inventory management, where they say first in first out, last in first out. Now, in the case of a desire-free action, this last in first out has a potential of fructifying, because we all know that we remember yesterday what we ate. Now, if you ask me 1 year ago what I ate, I cannot explain why. I can't remember. Like that, the karma impressions are also, the newer impressions have a higher probability of fructifying than the older impressions. So with the new impressions being desire free, to that extent he gets a better birth. That's the implication of this rebirth with respect to karma. So his fruits of actions of the current life plus the old accumulated fruits of birth, of past human birth, they must be experienced, because it's a contract. I have asked for I'm entitled to enjoy the fruits of it, good or bad, because I have acted in this world in a desire motivated environment. So the transient, after this leaving this current body, he chooses to experience a quantum of his total accumulated fruits of action. We have the previous life accumulated, plus the agami or the future karma from the previous life. They all are at his disposal to choose which karma he has to experience. This decision at the end of the life is made by us. I decide or you decide what fruit of karma you want to exercise, you want to enjoy. It's not that you cannot ask for what life, but that fruit of karma, only the Lord knows for that particular fruit of karma what superior birth or higher birth is decided by him. But I decide what karma I want to experience. Now, this is where I said the more recent ones have a higher probability. So if I have done only good karma, then that karma has a potential for fructifying immediately, the last in first out theory, and then you have a potentially a superior birth. The superior birth you have, the better is your chance of a superior birth in the future also. Life after life, we have to manage it that way. So the fruits of desire motivated karma in the form of future births falls into three categories: disagreeable fruits, agreeable fruits, and mixed fruits of action. So that, according to that, you get different kinds of births. So the manifest Atma, when he travels from birth to birth, desirable fruits are the fruits that give only happiness. If it's only mostly desirable fruits of a superior nature, then he could get a divine birth or a higher human birth. Undesirable fruits are the fruits that give only pain, an animal birth or a plant birth, or a lower human birth, which is painful. Mixed fruits are those, the case of fruits giving a mixture of both happiness and pain. We all experience that. Sometimes you are happy, sometimes you are not happy. When things go our way, we are happy. When things don't go our way, we are unhappy. And this we see in our day-to-day life. So this one of the three life, the desirable fruits or the undesirable fruits or the mixed fruits are at the experience or at the a manifest disposal to experience based on the karma bag. Now, Krishna says about Atyaginam Pretya. The Atyagi is one who does not renounce the fruits of karma. After death, he engages in desire-motivated karma, inappropriate karma, then he has to experience that, and that goes with him. That karma, tyagi, is one for whom the fruits of karma, agami karma, continues to follow him, and with the agami karma comes the accumulated karma also. So that requires one of the three above fruits of action discussed in the previous slide. So one who does not renounce the fruits of action, he is entitled to that karma phala, and he has to experience that. Now, how long does these fruits of karma last? In Vivek Chudamani, Shankaracharya, he describes, even after thousands of kalpas. A kalpa is a period of 1 day of Brahma, creator Brahma, which is 4.32 billion years. This is very tenacious. This karma doesn't go away just like that. So it can last thousands of kalpas, thousands of days of Brahma, creator Brahma. So anyway, what is creator's Brahma's lifespan? His lifespan is 1 day is 4.32 billion years. Again, his 1 night is 4.32 billion years. He has 360 days in a year and 100 years. That is the lifespan of creator Brahma. So we can calculate how many it comes into a few trillions. All right. With that, see, there is a saying in the Shastras that when we die, the relatives, meaning wife, a spouse, or some other relatives, they follow you up to the front door. The body is taken out of the home, and the relatives come up to the front door to bid goodbye to that body, and then this the body goes further. Who goes with the body? The putra, the son goes with the body. The son has son or sons, they have the responsibility to do the final rites of the departed, and so he goes to the crematorium. The sons go to the crematorium. So the children, male children, go up to the crematorium. So the wife and other relatives go up to the front door. The sons go up to the crematorium. And beyond the crematorium, he travels alone. He travels alone with his bag of karma. When he travels alone with his bag of karma, there's no other choice for him but to experience those fruits of action. So again, what are good karmas? What are good actions? What are bad actions? Yeah, very simple. If we follow the dharma, what actions the dharma prescribes, what actions are to be done, what actions are to be prohibited. Accordingly, if we follow, then we are in the path of good actions. Now, if I violate the dharma, or if I'm ignorant of the dharma, ignorance is not an excuse, because God has given us the intellect. Yesterday I was listening to one talk by the Sringeri Guru, Pitadipati. He says something like, what was that? This last it's not coming. I'll carry that. I remember that. So the bad actions are the actions opposed to dharma. So a human being is transacting in this world due to ignorance of the body and identity. He is born of delusion, so can experience any one of the three births in the future lives. So what I was trying to say was, the Pitadipati was saying, the birds can fly, human beings cannot fly. Fish can travel in water for thousands and thousands of miles in the sea. Human being cannot do that. Is it that God has given us, he has short-listed us, he doesn't give the powers of the bird or the power of the fish? No, he gave us another power, he gave us the intellect. He gave us the intellect, and using the intellect, we can decide what is good action, what is bad action, and therefore we can accordingly plan our life. So that the intellect is given to us, and he has given a set of rules to live by in the Dharma Shastras. The scriptures describe what karma to do, what karma to be avoided. and use our intellect to discriminate between the good and the bad. And then if we proceed, so human beings have the highest power with respect to any other kind of life. We have the highest power, that is the intellectual power. And if we use the intellectual power, we could make headway in our life. That's the message he was giving. So just a representative karma and the associated fruits. This is not to be taken as hard and it's not hard. I think just to give an idea of what the virtuous karma, what sinful karma is, and the mixture of virtuous and sinful, and what kind of body we are likely to get with that. So virtuous karmas are the punya karmas, and that will fetch us a divine body for the next future birth. Maximum virtuous karma will give us the position of Creator Brahma. Creator Brahma is also someone like us, a transient, but he has a lot of punya in his credit, and therefore he gets to be born as the CEO of the universe. That's the one way to explain that. As we know, that the most productive person in a person, most accomplished person, employee in a company gets to be a CEO. So Creator Brahma is the CEO of the universe because of the maximum punya. Now, average punya karma or average virtuous karma gives us the positions of Indra, Varuna. These are administrators under the guidance of Creator Brahma. Indra, Varuna, if you want to say, are the managers of karma. So they are the managers of the universe, rather. So if we do average punya pada, we do become managers. And then if we have minimum punya karma, then the still lower births in the divine category is yakshas, gandharvas, etc. And they have some powers, more power than human beings, but they don't have as much power as Indra or Varuna, but they do have a lifespan associated with that kind of enjoyment. Now, at the other end of the line, sinful karma gives rise to potential of inferior birth. What are those inferior births? Possibly snakes, thorny plants, etc. Now, if it's maximum sinful karma, those are the potential possibilities. Snakes are the thorny plants. If it is average sinful karma, it is possibly a tree, a mango tree, or a orange tree, or something like that. There's a difference between mango tree and orange tree. Orange tree has thorns in it. The mango tree doesn't have thorns in it. Therefore, there is a discrimination with average sinful karma. How much is it average at the high end of the average or low end of the average? Depending on that, both could get a fruit tree, but one has a mango tree is without thorns and the orange tree is with thorns, like that. That average sinful karma could yield. And parrot is an example of an animal life. And then if the sinful karma is very minimal, but still it is sinful, then there is the possibility of basil plant or the tulsi plant, bilwa tree. Again, the difference between basil and bilwa. Bilwa has thorns in it, but it is used for worship of the Lord. Basil, tulsi is also used for the worship of the Lord. So good flower plants are a possibility. A cow, useful domestic animals like cow, etc., are possible outcomes of sinful karma. Now, this mixture of virtuous and sinful karma, one is engaged in both dharma and adharma. Then human body is likely, which is in between the divine body and the inferior body. Then among them, if the higher virtuous and sinful, the virtue is higher than the sin, then we may be born in better home environments where the environment is good for liberation. Already the parents or the siblings in that family could be engaged in similar actions to liberate towards liberation. And I also, you and I, if we get into that birth, we have an environment where it is conducive for us to move higher in the liberation path. Now, if both the higher karma and sinful karma and virtuous karma are kind of equal, then we get the desire-motivated karma, desire-motivated life, the rajasic proclivity mostly. And if it is the other end of the spectrum with higher sin and lower virtues, then it could be a ignorant life, a tamasic proclivity, without branding anybody. Some labor activity is all we can take care of. So those are the kinds of, we can just sample of, there is no way to define what is what karma gives what life, but this is a representative of the possible future birth for a person who engages in good and virtuous karma, or purely virtuous karma, or purely negative karma. Now, I don't say you and I as transients, we don't renounce karma, but we engage in karma with desire-free motivation. There is no desire. I just want to work everything. I want to work as a service to the Lord. If that is my motivation, then that particular karma does not add to the accumulated karma. There is no agami karma coming out of that particular karma. And therefore, if we have maximized our desire-free karma, the bag that the karma, agami karma that attaches to the sanchita or the accumulated karma is very little. So that karma does not spawn a future birth. There is no future birth coming out of desire-free motivation. Desire-free karma, there is no fruits attached to it, because it is a service to God. Service to God, I'm not, as a body, I am not asking for this fruit of karma. Therefore, there is no fruit of karma associated with it. So, even if I engage most of my life in my current life in desire-free karma, I still have the bag behind me. It doesn't leave me. It is following me. That they could still be giving me future births. But again, the last in, first out, if we apply, sometimes there's a potential for the current life birth to give me another birth, and the better birth. And so I may be in the higher human scale, therefore a better environment for me. So a human being in a favorable environment, that is where family, parents and siblings are all engaged in desire-free action, then they are all contributing to his spiritual growth. So ultimately, he will attain to the supreme state of Paramatma in one of the future lives. Which one it is, we don't know. It could be that one, or it could be the future later one. But everything depends on how we practice our discipline karma. And everything is, there's a cause and effect associated, cause-effect relationship between every karma that we do, and accordingly we will get a future birth in one of the better environments for punya karma, the virtuous karma, or one of the inferior births in a sinful karma situation. So we have a choice. It is the choice we have to make: seek to establish in consciousness, or atmastaha, be seated in the atma, or I can be seated in the inner nature and interact with the prakriti, nature, and then I experience the fruits of those interactions. So these are the only two choices we have. And we could, that is why God has given us that intellect to decide which way to go. But it is easy said than done. Even there, the past karmas, the gunas associated with the past karmas, they have a bearing, or they have an influence in what action I do now. So that is not an easy solution, but we can overcome that by a very determined action path, so that I don't accumulate more karma in this life. So, given that there's a choice for us to engage in Atma or engage in Prakriti. If we engage in Prakriti, we could be part of any one of these 8.4 million species. 84 lakhs is what the scriptures describe, are 8.4 million species of living beings, from the single cell amoebas to Brahma. That's the whole span. You got the inanimate, rocks and stones and plants and trees, to animals, sea animals, to land animals, to human beings, to divine beings, up to Brahma. So that's the range of the spectrum of, we can expect the spectrum of lives, of births. And they are described as 8.4 million species. All these 8.4 million species are being experienced by transients from beginningless time. It's not like it started yesterday or today. It's beginningless time. We have already seen that. Anadi. Prakritim Purushan Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi. That's what Krishna has described. So it is there beginningless time, and there is beginningless time, it has also no end. So evolution from small creatures to humans to celestials, all these are the potential possibilities for any human being to achieve. Now, up to in the first evolution process, from the sea animals to animals and to humans, up to the first human life, it is more or less a time scale evolution. They go from one level to the other, and continue to get highly evolved births until human birth. When we come to the human birth, because God has given an intellect in the human birth, now we are measured in terms of our performance. So the first human life comes by evolution. The successive human lives comes from it is performance based, and to do that performance based analysis, if you will, the past deeds they fetch the current human life. Whatever karma we have done in the past, we have done some good karma. So we have got human birth, and then this birth becomes the planning. The current birth is the fruit of the previous actions in the previous life, and this current life can be the planning for the next life. That because he has given us that intellect, that buddhi, we could use that to plan our actions in this life, so that the next life is a happy life. Now, what are the performance metrics? We know in our business life, every year we at the end of the year we submit to the management what all I did, what all I performed, what did I accomplish, and then I will also add 2 lines there. What do I want to work? How do I want to progress in the company in the coming years? So a plan of action to progress in the company, that we do that performance review time every year. Every death is a performance time for us. So we are measured. What are the metrics of this performance measurement? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So these are the 4 goals of human transients. Dharma is righteousness. Artha is earning resources and wealth. and that has to be in accordance with the dharma. Then kama is the full. We all have desires, so we have to fulfill our desires, and to fulfill our desires, we need the artha, that is the resources, and that resource has to be earned in a righteous manner. So the first goal is kama, the next goal is artha, the next goal is dharma, according to this. But first we have to know if we know the dharma first, then we have a better chance of planning our future birth. That's why the dharma is there in the first place. So then moksha. Once I have a desire for something, for worldly objects of nature, ultimately I get tired of it in transmigration, and that desire for this worldly life now has to transition itself for liberation, desire for liberation. Ultimately, somewhere it has to happen, and it is said very firmly that it will happen to every human being who is following dharma. One time or the other, that desire for liberation comes. When the desire for liberation comes, the desire for sense objects reduces. Ultimately, it will disappear. And the moksha, the desire for liberation becomes so strong, then he kind of moves further and further away from the prakriti or the nature, and liberation is possible from that life. Ultimately, one other thing is that the liberation can be possible only in the human birth. Like if you take the animal birth or the lower birth, it is a punishment for bad actions, for sinful actions, and the divine life is an award, is a reward for better virtuous actions. Human birth is one where these two are possible, the divine life or the inferior birth. At the same time, only from the human birth, the liberation is possible. To give an example, see, your divine life, I said, is a reward. You do very good in your business life. The company will give you a cruise trip, let us say, to you and your spouse. You go for a 2-week vacation on a cruise. And then at the end of the cruise, you come back to human birth, to your company business, and you continue your work. Like that also, the divine birth is also a very finite time, and you come back to human birth again. And if you do do good work at your company, another 2-3 years, then the company recognizes and gives you a different kind of an award or whatever that is. And so like that, this performance practice that we observe in business life, in the prakriti, is also transferable to the performance metrics in the spiritual growth also. So, a very high-level description: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Those are the 4 goals. So, in them there are possibly dharmic and adharmic, righteous karma, unrighteous karma. And in the righteous karma, there can be again a bifurcation: desire-motivated rightful karma, righteous karma, and desire-free righteous karma. Now, the desire-free karma, it will give rise to superior human births, or in the case of desire-motivated righteous karma, that could give rise to human celestial birth. Now, adharmic, unrighteous karma is, this split cannot be possible. There cannot be a desire-free adharmic karma. There is nothing like that. It's an oxymoron. In adharmic life, it's not that you want to be adharmic, unrighteous. It's just that the desire, that this is where I was telling the past proclivity, guna distribution in us, it drives us to do certain things. And this unrighteous karma is therefore is driven by the desire. The desire for having something. First, initially, we kind of logically argue that this is not adharma, this is dharma itself. But slowly we move away from that, and the unrighteous karma is engaged in due to desire only, and that could get you an inferior birth. So those are the actually three possible births in the future. This one is worse than this. Desire motivated unrighteous karma is the least of them, and this is an oxymoron. Desire-free adharmic karma doesn't exist. Now, we have seen this curve. I just want to highlight one aspect here, that if we live mostly in the tamas, it is possible that we could get a escape from the human birth to an animal birth, and then you come back to the human birth, and then you again continue the transmigration. If you have done all good karmas, you escape to a divine birth, and then again after that karma phala has been exhausted, you come back to the human birth again. Now here these four categories I have described, this is unknowingly ignorant. This person who is here operating in this level, he doesn't even know that this is ignorant, that this is bad karma and this is good karma. There is no distinction in him, so he is unknowingly ignorant. Now when you come to, you interact with people, with right people, describing about dharma and all, when you hear about that dharma, then you come to know that, oh, I am ignorant. That is knowingly ignorant. So you have graduated. We have graduated from unknowingly ignorant to knowingly ignorant. Now, if we continue the path of righteous karma, we come to a point where, and I have achieved so much in the execution of righteousness of the karmas, then I become knowingly wise. I become wise, and I know that this is the right path to do. And so that is knowingly wise. And then I have here unknowingly wise. When you get to the liberation, you are all alone. You are all alone in the Atma. There is no interaction with the Prakriti. There is nothing to know. You exist. You exist as pure Sattva consciousness. That is the moksha. And by any little interaction with the nature is only for body maintenance. After a person attains to liberation, the prarabdha karma, as long as it lasts, he has to live. And in order to live, he has to breathe, he has to eat some minimum food. And for that, whatever it is, that transaction will happen. But that is not desire motivated. It just happens. And so that is what is the state of unknowingly wise. He is wise. He doesn't have to know or not to know is a function of the duality. In the Atma, there is no duality. Therefore, he is unknowingly wise when he gets to this point. So this is the graduation we have to do from unknowingly ignorant to knowingly wise to unknowingly wise. That is the gradation in terms of our spiritual path. So, moving on, we will look at what is this relation between sense pleasures and transmigration. Now, these sense pleasures, we seek sense pleasures, and they are short term. They are like, last for a certain time. Yehi sansparshaja bhogaha dukkha yonaya evate. Krishna says sansparshaja, the gratification or the happiness lasts as long as you're in contact with the sense objects. If we don't, if I want to enjoy, ice cream or any other form of enjoyment, there should be a contact between the sense object and the sense organ. As long as that contact is there, there is there is happiness or even pain. But once that contact is removed, there is no more happiness or pain. So that's what is meant by short-term gratification. But perpetuation of the transmigration continues. See, there is the karma phala and the enjoyment of the happiness. Those are two things, and you do get to enjoy some short-term benefits, but it also carries with it the imprints, and so it gives you another birth. Dharmic sense pleasures offer good human births and occasional divine births. Summarizing, in the enjoyment of sense pleasures, what happens is risk of violating dharma. I can say today, I will be righteous, I want good human births or divine births, I'll manage that. But there is a risk of violating dharma. I cannot say for sure in the future, every day of my life, I will live with dharma. Some influence happens and we may violate the dharma. And once you violate the dharma, we have to face the consequences of that. So such violation of dharma is misuse or abuse of the intellectual resources. The God has given us this buddhi. Now, if I violate the dharma, knowingly or unknowingly, there is really no difference. By knowingly or unknowingly, I do violate dharma, and I'm supposed to know, because the unknowingly has no excuse, because God has given us the intellect, the buddhi. So one way or the other, there's that potential for violation of dharma happens, and when the potential for the violation of dharma happens, consequences have to be faced. That is where Krishna now describes Asurim yoni mapannaha mudha janmani janmani mama prapyaiva kaunteya tato yan tyadamam gatim. So the having entered the demonic womb, once we have got to that level of, by violating dharma, and we have come to that level of experiencing the demonic womb, these fools, Arjuna, they beget inferior births, birth after birth, attain me not ever. Basically, what it means is there is a potential for everyone. There is only the karma phala is finite, associated with the level of karma. If there is no eternal bad or good, for a short term good or bad or good respectively. So there is a relationship between the level of good karma and the reward you get out of it. Similarly, the other way. See, this is the one that is quite different in the Hindu philosophy compared to the other Western philosophies, where there is only one birth and there is one God who is going to determine you are going to be born as a human being or as an animal to have food to be eaten, and for the animal to be eaten as a food for the human being. So this is Hinduism doesn't accept this. That there's always a cause and effect. The God is compassionate, very compassionate. He is not an authoritative God to say, okay, I'll make you a human being in a very rich country, and I will make you a human being or in another drug infested area or something like that. That authority God does not have. In a single life, you cannot avoid making statement that God has that authoritative power to create different beings without any reason. So that Hinduism does not accept it. That is what here he is saying, that once you have entered there, you continue in that for quite some time. Ultimately, you will come back. So indiscriminate living, we risk lower births of rajas and tamas, and it could snowball to regressive lower births. We don't know how many lower births, but it continues for some time. Lower births have also there. Why do I say that? It continues like that is it's all because a function of the karma bag. Whatever karma is there in the bag, once you are come to the lower births, it will continue in that lower birth for some time until the negative karmas are exhausted in the back. So lower births have a finite termination. Again, it's not indefinite. Like as I was saying, with the Western philosophy, you do good karma, you are in heaven for eternal period of time, eternally. And if you do bad karma, you are eternally in, negative or the tamasic fruits. You are in, there is no word in hell. Okay, hell is the word I was looking for. For a certain tamasic karma of one life, you don't enjoy, you don't get to be in eternal hell. For one life of good karma, you don't get to be in eternal heaven. For every karma, a finite karma, there is a finite reward, higher or lower. And when that is exhausted, then you come back to the human birth. So the finite termination of the lower birth is following the extent of tamasic fruits of karma that has been experienced, and then you come back to human birth. Now, during the births of human or during births of divine or lower births, the karma bag is on hold. There is no agami karma. Here we have this agami karma from previous life. If my previous life is an animal birth, and this also is an animal birth, in animal birth there is no there is no agami karma or future karma, because there is no intellect in the lower birth, or the heavenly life also is only for enjoyment. There is no karma there, and therefore there is no fruits of karma. So if you are looking at any non-human birth, this is the equation that holds. Previous human life sanchita minus prarabdha of current life. The prarabdha gets depleted every life. If we go through 10 animal births, then the 10 animal births are associated with 10 prarabdhas. And ultimately, that bag, previous human life, minus 10 prarabdha, then it becomes the sanchita of the next human birth. Same thing with the divine birth. So this is how the equation of karma works in the case of going away from the human birth. If we are in the human birth, this is what that holds, that we have already discussed. Now, given this, now what is the means for me to avoid? I don't want to enter into a demonic womb. I know it is very painful. Fear is the biggest fear factor of animal birth. They are fearful of the entire environment. Protecting themselves against this fear is the biggest concern for these animals. So I don't want to be there. So human transients properly use the resource of scriptures and intellect. Now, how can I avoid it? I have the resources of the scriptures and intellect. Now, I have to properly utilize my intellect to avoid doing unrighteous karma or sinful karma. Stay put in human birth or advance to higher births and eventually attain liberation. That's the only way I can avoid entering into a demonic womb. Now, how do what does it mean? That means acceptance of the Lord and acceptance of his instructions. His instructions come in the form of scriptures. Now, if you accept the scriptures, you have accepted the existence of God. And with that, there is always a potential for doing the right thing. Now, in giving the example of business life, the CEO sets the policies for the government, for the business, and whatever the CEO has set the policies for the business, everyone follows that. And that means you have accepted the existence or the power of the ego. And likewise, here we accept the existence and the power of the Lord, and be righteous in our actions. Then we are doing what we should be doing, use of our resources to spiritually grow. So the renunciation of adharmic desire, anger, and greed, which the Lord describes as the gateway to hell. In the 16th chapter, 21st verse, he describes that Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashnamatmanaha kama krodastata lobaha tasma etat trayam tyaje. Kama is desire, krodha is anger, lobha is greed. So these three, Krishna describes as the gateways to hell. Now, are the pathways to hell. So if we can conduct our life such that we try to minimize on these desire, anger, and greed, this is we are avoiding the passage to hell. See, this is not necessarily a spiritual issue. Anger and greed is a social issue also. So the Bhagavad Gita is not just a spiritual text; it's a social text also. There is plenty of sequences of the context where Krishna describes the social aspect of our living also. Nobody likes an angry person. Everybody wants to keep away from an angry person. And where does anger come from? Anger comes from desire. If the desire is a two-edged sword. If the desire is met, I want more of it. So it leads to greed. If the desire is not met, why me? Why is it that I am not getting this? I should get it. So that is the anger. So desire can lead to either anger or greed. Somewhere along the line, the desire doesn't get satisfied, and anger is very, very likely. So that's a social aspect of the spiritual growth also. So they now, having described the one end of the spectrum, that is the demonic wombs, Krishna describes on the other end, Tetam Bhuktva, those who perform karmas that are conducive to heaven life. Tetam Bhuktva Swargalokam Vishalam Shine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti Evam Trayi Dharma Manuprapannaha Gatagatam Kama Kama Labhate. So, having enjoyed the life of vast heavens, the person who has done very good righteous karma and plenty of it to qualify for a divine life, there he goes, having enjoyed life of vast heavens, they return to the land of humans. Again, he comes back. There is a finite period. Indra's life is 550 million years. Yaksha Gandharvas is less than 100 million years, something like that. There's a table. Bhagavad describes all these things very detailed. So they return to the land of humans on exhaustion of righteous merits. You earned 1 pound of punya, you get 1 pound worth of punya living in divine land, and then you have to come back. So these are the practitioners of the three scriptures. There are three guna, like Vedas, Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Samaveda. Those are the Veda sections that describe our roles in human birth. So the practitioner of the three scriptures, those who practice one of these three, is also qualifies for heaven, and they come back to human birth after they have exhausted the pleasures of the heavens, and they head back to the earth for another human life. So this we will take up in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. All right, question time.
So moksha is totally liberation. It's
Yes.
not going to any heaven or hell.
No,
Right?
no. Moksha is after. This is what happens after the moksha. Once a person has realized the self, he will still have whatever number of years left. Prarabdha. Prarabdha has to play out. That has begun, and so at the end of the life, he does not escape from the body. See, in our transmigration, what happens is there is this sanchita bag. The mind with the sanchita bag, it leaves the body and goes in search of another birth. But in the case of a liberated person, that sanchita is empty. That sanchita doesn't exist. So that being the case, at the end of the life, his body disintegrates into its elements, the 5 elements: Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, and Prithvi. So, and then they merge with, say, nature, those respective elements.
Okay, thank you.
Once that happens, your consciousness, and then somewhere along the line, you come down as Krishna.
That's all I wanted to clear that. Okay, thank you.
It could be Krishna, or it could be Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, whoever it is. They come for the Dharma Prachara. And so they are, according to their, life, whatever they led before the realization, they come and Yada hi dharmasya granirpoti bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamiham. So this one consciousness appears as different beings. That's our different bodies. Just like one consciousness, we are appearing as different human beings, human bodies, animal bodies, etc. But they come with a purpose. We don't have that purpose that they come with.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody? All right, we'll see you in the next class then.
Thank you.
Namaskara.